Massive number of people have been upgrading. Yes, there you go. You see the graceful limb that you were talking about before. The race we've got yet again, and a victor then goes victory to an American, Andy Hampton.
The belt to go by. He looks at the Colombian rider. How are you doing? Straight past Santiago Botero, and he's coming up to Pantani. Armstrong is sitting in the last few hundred meters as we come towards the finish of this monumental stage. And Armstrong,
as we start to approach the line now, Pantani grits his teeth and accelerates and over the line.
Is going now to win stage number 15. Sepp Kuss, an emotional finish from Durango in the USA. Sepp Kuss wins.
Welcome aboard, everybody. Tyler Yonke, Between Two Wheels podcast, episode 384, stage 5, Tour de France. Things are getting real out there, as the kids might say. I don't know what the fucking kids say anymore. But we have stage 5, individual time trial, what they call the race of truth. I made some predictions, wildly inaccurate predictions. We'll talk about some of those. Once again, remember to subscribe, obviously like, but if you subscribe to this show, then when we go live and set the notifications on, you're going to get us, you're going to know when that's going to happen. If you're over there on Facebook, let's even see if that's happening. If you're over there on Facebook, that's the wrong place to be. They absolutely suck. They keep trying to get us in copyright strikes. And it's not really that I'm doing anything wrong over there. So if you're over there, just migrate over to YouTube. We have a Rumble channel as well. It's in the link on the descriptions. Go over there, subscribe, B2W Pod. Subscribe over there. You can see us over on Rumble. And when you go over there, what we're going to end up doing over on Rumble is I'm going to be live here, and at some point we'll just cut every other stream, and we'll be able to show some of these interviews and some of these other things as the tour heats up, hots up, as they say, so that you can actually enjoy this show and some of the stuff we can present. Look, there's DCMA, there's copyright strikes that these companies do, and the problem they have, YouTube's not good. Facebook is the worst. They're just like, hey, this is a claim, and they just remove it. YouTube does that too, but you do have some recourse. You can at least put a contention in there, because what the idea is, if you use someone's material, especially the videos and whatnot, you can, if you alter it or you editorialize and change the content basically on it, then it's a workaround. Basically, it's an exception to the rule, but it's just a problem, and it's a pain. So Rumble doesn't see, or they don't know enough about Rumble to be able to go over there and copyright strike us. So as of now, we would be able to do that. Hang on, I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, so let's take a look here at today's stage 5. What was my prediction? I said this is this flat time trial. I was basing this off of power. There's no climb in this. And I said, I think you're going to see Matteo Jorgensen get the win and go into the yellow jersey. Wrong, not close. That was my heart talking. If you really pushed me and you said gun to the head, and Tyler, you're going to have to bet money on this, I would have picked Evenepoel, because the odds are more likely than not he's going to be the one, right, to do it. You always get some surprises in here. So with that in mind, I was a little bit wrong. I also thought Jonas and Tadej would be up there closer, just due to the way that the tour goes and how we've seen Jonas in the past. That didn't necessarily come true either. We're going to walk through this, but there it is. 33 kilometers, stage 5 individual time trial, 3 time checks along the way. And let's take a look and see what transpired here. I'm just going to go through. Look, this Visma helmet, I don't know if it's ever won. But Eduardo Affini goes out there. He ends up doing a pretty good time to begin with. There's your yellow jersey, the GC. Before we go into today's stage, Mathieu van der Poel on equal time, but count back gets him the yellow jersey over Pogacar. Vingegaard, 8 seconds back. Matteo Jorgensen, 19 seconds back. 26 seconds back to Kevin Valkelon, the Arkea Samsic French rider. Enric Mas for Movistar, 48 seconds. Oscar Onley, 55. Almeida, 55. Evenepoel, 58. And Skilmos, I don't know, there's some writing on here, so we can't really see what he is at. But we know 58 seconds, 8 seconds. Okay. There's the jerseys. They're getting those all together. Mathieu van der Poel. And look, Tadej had to wear the polka dot jersey. And, maybe that's why, spoiler, he doesn't win today. But we will see. There he is. Jonas, there's the race, the profile, the guys warming up. This is very technical. The warm-up, everything has a lot of, they have it dialed down to a science. And I imagine if you don't quite do it quite right, maybe you're going to be missing out. Here we go. We'll take a different look at this. Some of the riders early on, though, you had Luke Plapp was going out, but before him, Amaral was out there as well. Some guys doing some good times. Eduardo Affini, though, Romero, that's right, from Movistar had the hot seat, and then Eduardo Affini comes in there and he gets the best time, puts him off. Now, when you look at the time checks, which maybe we'll go through, Luke Plapp was setting some good times, and I did hear an interview with him where he said, look, he was just going out. He was just going to try to win it as much as he could from the start. He went out hard and then died in the end. So you can see the time checks where he starts to fade. Eduardo Affini comes in with the hot seat, the virtual, basically the leader at this point. But with that in mind, he's out there all day. He's out there all day, sitting in the hot seat. Jonas looks good for the warm-up. There we go. Who is this? This is Affini as well. I guess he's the European time trial champion. The European road race champion is Tim Miller, and it's a similar jersey, and there you go. That's what he has. Now, you start to get Amaral comes in here for decathlon. He also puts up a really good time, but he does not surpass. No one for quite some time is going to push Eduardo Affini off the hot seat. Now, Affini, he's a Visma lease bike rider. He is kind of there for their flats, a rouleur, as they would say, and he got his chance today to go all out for the win. He's been doing a lot of work. Another one, a guy that has the world hour record, at least he did at one point, world hour record, was Victor Campenaerts, and he lost 6 minutes. So they had another rider that could have, probably challenged for the win, but for whatever reason, either he wasn't wanting it or the team said, don't worry, sit back, and he lost like 6 minutes. So he definitely didn't take his chances in there. Evenepoel goes to the start, and he immediately, he's one of the first real big contenders to go. He's the outright favorite. We saw him, taking 40-some seconds of Pogacar, I think it was, at Dauphiné, 20-some seconds on Vingegaard. But, remember, Vingegaard took 20-some seconds or 19 or so seconds out of Pogacar at the time. So, it's just a weird combo. Now, Pogacar lost so much time that really the answer, I think, to that is his pacing, because there was a climb in there. He didn't lose time on the climb. He lost it on the first section. It was weird. So that's kind of what you had there. Look at the arrowness of Evenepoel. I mean, this guy is just a human rocket, and he's built for speed. Now, the wind changed a bit when he started, so it's an out and back course. And when Evenepoel started, I guess the headwind really picked up for the out part. So you're like, okay, well, he's going to be, possibly down even more on the time checks when he goes out there. But he was actually looking really good on the first time check. He was just a few seconds off. Second, you know what? Maybe we need to, maybe we'll take a look and see if we can find the actual time checks here, so we can go through all of them to give a little bit better breakdown of how the day actually went. There we go. Let's just pull this up here. So we had the first time check. Luke Plapp is the best time, and then Evenepoel comes through in the first time check, and he's only 2 seconds back. Come into the second time check, Evenepoel's 8 seconds back, but this is where you're still going on the out course. and then they start to come on the inside, and Evenepoel then takes a resurgence. He swaps from being down 8 on Luke Plapp, being down 4 on Affini, to being up 11 on Affini, going into the third time check. And then we will get here to, let's go back to actually just reviewing the race as it is. As he comes into the finish, he's 45 plus seconds up. There's another, 12 that goes off the clock from this point that we see to the finish. And he ends up coming in. There we go, right here. There you go, 33.06. Up on 36.42, 33 seconds up on Eduardo Affini. The 54 flat kilometer time trial average speed, just blazing. Behind him, Jonas Vingegaard. Jonas from the start did not look good. He did not look good on the bike as far as he was moving around. Pogacar in the polka dot jersey. We'll talk, and then Van der Poel, and there was some problematic issues with Jonas there, down early. Roglic was down early, but maybe the best way is actually, besides is to look once again at these guys at the first time check. Like I said, Evenepoel was down 2 seconds. Pogacar down 3 seconds, so he's got an early start similar to Remco. He's looking good as far as the main guys go. Kevin Vauquelin only 16 seconds down at the first time check. Vingegaard coming in 8th place in the first time check. Only down 16 seconds, not so horrible. Florian Lipowitz, 24 seconds down at the first. Matthew Van der Poel, 29, and Roglic, 29. Mateo he disappointed me immediately here with being down 33 seconds at the first time check. And even, where would you hear? João Almeida coming in 36 seconds. Now, you come into the second time check. Luke Plapp, once again, still had the best time. Affini is really the guy to watch, though, with the pacing at 4 seconds. And as you said, Remco was down, where'd you go? 8 seconds. Ivan Romero, who had been in the hot seat, down 9. Bruno Amaral, 18 seconds. Pogacar, 20. So he's already off of Remco about 12 seconds there. And he had been, just 1 second off in the first one. So he's already losing a bit here. Lipowitz now moves up. He was back here, I want to say, in the top, where do we go here? Lipowitz, 12th. But he moves up into a much better position here. 9th place with 35 seconds down, and Kevin Vauquelin 40 seconds down. Roglic 49, he's losing time. Almeida 57, he's losing time. Mateo at 103. Vingegaard, this thing is so stupid. It's not holding it here. Van der Poel at 105, Vingegaard at 50. So he's starting to kind of creep back as well. Coming to the third time check, and you actually see at this point a little bit of a difference with Pogacar. He's now down 17 seconds to Remco Evenepoel, who's now in the lead. He's taken 11 plus seconds. Swap that over Affini. He was down 11, and then on the second one, now this time he's up. Actually, he was down 4. Now he's up up 11. Pogacar's down 17 to Remco. The main people. Kevin Vauquelin at 43 seconds. Lipowitz moves himself up to 8-3 at 43 as well. And Roglic down 102. Almeida 103. Vingegaard 105. Jorgensen 111. So Jorgensen and Vingegaard are kind of swapping around with each other here, as well as Roglic. Now the finish here. Remco with a 36.42, as we mentioned earlier, 54 on the dot averaged time trial kilometers per hour. Pogacar only down 16 seconds. He at least took another second back on the final portion. So he actually, for his timing goes, he started out, he was fairly good, but he ended up getting stronger and stronger. So that says something for Pogacar. Whereas, Mateo 111, Vingegaard 105. They're coming in the finish here. Vingegaard down 121. He loses addition. Mateo down 119. So Mateo held himself a little bit more. Same time as Roglic for Mateo. But I mean, you've got destruction here for those two, really, in my opinion. Mateo skill, and we'll go through on the finish here for the times. Let's just see if we click through any more of this. They're really disappointed. Can't say where you lost something, but it wasn't the best TT, but we keep fighting. You did your best, and that's it. That's what Visma Lisa Bike, and there's some pictures of Jonas there. go, super, super perfect. Tade, that's what his team is saying to him. He had a great time out there. Like I said, Matthew van der Poel, he did his best to try to defend the jersey, but it wasn't enough. In the end, you can see that 16 seconds for the polka dot jersey and Pogacar, but he does go into yellow. So it's a violent effort that you've seen out of a polka dot jersey, which you haven't seen much in years. I heard someone say since Tony Rominger, probably in the late 80s or early 90s. Actually, when would that be? That was probably before the Lance era. So we're talking like mid 87, 88, 89, somewhere in that range. Oh no, it'd be mid 90s. Yeah, because Lance was late 90s. Matthew van der Poel comes in 144, not the best time there, but Remco, he and his wife, gets the win, does not get the yellow jersey. He missed out on that with stage 1 errors. There you go. Remco, Pogacar down 16. Affini holds himself out 33 seconds. Pretty good for Visma. Amaral, 35 seconds. Those are the time trial specialists. But then you got Kevin Vauquelin, or KS Samsic, 49 seconds down in 5th place on the day. Lipowitz really made a resurgence, 58 seconds down. That's an incredible ride. Ivan Romero, the movie star time trial guy, at 102. Almeida with a nice finish at 114. Luke Plapp, 117. Pablo Castrero, 118 for movie star. There's the overall though. Pablo, was Castrero though? Was he the guy that won the stage last year with the 3rd tier team? I think he was, maybe 1 or 2 stages. Pogacar comes in with the yellow jersey, now has 42 seconds over Evenepoel, 59 seconds over Vauquelin. Jonas drops a place from 3rd into 4th at 113. Mateo also drops a place from 4th to 5th at 122. Van der Poel drops all the way down to 6th at 128. It's to be expected. Joao moves up 153. Roglic moves up 5 at 230. Lipowitz moves up 11 to 231. And Mishkilmos 232 for 10th place. A very interesting little day. Bitter Klinger out here. I'm 15 minutes behind, but I'll catch up. Okay. I'm glad I can catch this one. Good for you. So, an interesting day there with the time trial. It's not what I expected for Jonas. If you want to say anything that's basically a positive for Vingegaard, one, he said he didn't have the legs. This came after the day, stage 4, that was just, as he said, he did his best 1-minute power. I don't know. But what you can also see here is Jonas is made for the mountains specifically, but he's done really well in your flat time trials. So he's not your old school type of thing. Excuse me, your old school type of thing where it's, the climbers just can't do anything. He can definitely time trial just fine. He just didn't put in a good one today. And I don't know what to say about that other than maybe he's transformed himself a little bit. Training's been different. Last year we had some issues where maybe he's going to be more explosive in the mountains, and that's going to be something. But he did not look comfortable at all on his time trial bike today. Just definitely something was off. Something was a little off too with Matteo Jorgensen. As far as this should have been a more power course for him. He should have been able to put in a little bit better time. I'm a little disappointed on that side as well. We'll see how things go. But when you really look at things and you analyze it, you've got Evenepoel doing what Evenepoel does, which is win time trials in an impressive fashion. And then Tadej Pogacar only losing 16 seconds to him. Outstanding. And then Kevin Vauquelin and his ability to come up there and put in a good time was pretty impressive as well. I do want to take a look here. Let's go to, that's the live stats. Let's go to the results here. Just look at the GC and kind of look at some of these riders that did. Lipowitz, big surprise for me, for him being able to put in the time that he did, moving up all the way up to 9th place, as we mentioned. Oscar only had a pretty rough day, I think, about what you would expect for him. Enric Mas got passed. That's not so good for him. Carlos Rodriguez, he's in 16th place. It's just kind of there. Ben O'Connor actually, because he had lost time yesterday. So actually for him being only down 407 today. And as far as the overall goes here, where was Ben O'Connor? Was he like 21st? 21st at 147. Not bad for him. You always have to look at who and what and, where you're looking at different people. What I would also look for coming up here in the next few days, because tomorrow, let's take a look at tomorrow's stage, and then we can take a look at kind of the predictions that I think for there. There's tomorrow's. That looks pretty rough. How are you still first? What's that? What's that? What are you saying there? I don't know what you're saying, Jordan. Excuse me. So here's this profile for tomorrow, which looks really rough. Okay, as far as like, it's not a rough one for GC general classification contenders. They're going to be able to get through this just fine. It is. Is the race going to be put on and pushed by Pogacar UAE? Is it going to be pushed by the Visma team? I don't think so. I think after today, both of those teams might just kick back, but you never know. I mean, you get your 100th win yesterday for Tadej. He's in the yellow jersey. He might just want to throw it down. The problem you do that is when you've got this lead, and there's a news article here where he says, I was not expecting to be so far ahead. Tadej amazed by gap to Jonas Vingegaard. So if you're amazed, what you want to do now is like, hey, let's maybe not kill my team. I may need them in, there's a 3-week race. There's only 5 stages in here of 21. This may be something, just let my team relax a little bit for tomorrow. I don't know. And then is, Alpecin going to let a break get up the road? We don't know about that either, but I wanted to look at here. Oh, there you go. But so it's hard to predict. I think tomorrow what's going to be the case is with a stage like this, you're going to, because the day after this is Mur de Britannia with a nice little difficult finish, which is tailor-made for Matthew van der Poel again, who's won on that race, on that stage before. So maybe he's going to not do it, Van der Poel that is, just let his team relax, do a little bit better work for him the next day, and let a breakaway get up the road. Now, who's going to be primed for a breakaway? It's not your, guys that are way down in, the 100th place. It literally is your 25 to 50 position place right now. Guys that can still motor pretty good, that this is the kind of course that they can go over, and they've done decently the last few days, but they're not going to be able to get the GC win too. So you have to be back a little bit from that as well. Okay. We'll walk through a little bit of that. Mason Marlowe said Tadej for tomorrow. That mystery drink at the finish line, Kratom. Speaking of Kratom, I don't do any ads. I don't know what you guys have been watching for the tour. I know there's this show, which should be prime watching for everybody. So once again, like, subscribe. I know, Mason, you're over there on Facebook. Can the Facebook shit. They drop my show all the time. Go over to the YouTube, even the Rumble, because that's the one I'm going to start streaming or showing highlights a little bit more on. I think we'll be fine. But who have you been watching? I mean, there's now Peacock has The Move. So there's that. And then The Move has a bunch of shows, and they feel so boomer to me. I'm watching, I can't help it. I couldn't help but watch it the other day. And I'm just like, once again, I'm amazed at the ads that they put in. Now, another one I was disappointed. I was listening to the cycling podcast, and Roger Moore, is that his name? Daniel Moore. No, there's Daniel Freeb, Bernie, and then Moore, whatever Moore's name was, who passed away. Daniel Freeb does the stuff for ITV in the interviews, so he's not doing the podcast. It's a horrible podcast now. I'm just not interested. I was bored out of my mind listening to it today. G. Thomas's, his is okay, but I'm like, for someone who is so involved in the race, it seems like his insights are just missing. I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I know what's going. And maybe you're too involved and you're not paying attention, but it was kind of baffling to me. And really, I guess Escape Collective with those guys. Johnny Long just broke a story about Remco going to Bora. We'll see if that pans out. So I'm disappointed with a lot of the podcasts out there right now, but this is just seems to be the way it is. Okay, let's go back over here. So Tadej for tomorrow. I don't think Tadej for tomorrow, Mason, because what I wanted to look at. We'll look at here is who the GC, and we're going to go down about 20 some places, and you're going to have to be, 5-6 minutes out, because I think those are the people who where the break can actually start to go. So is Guillaume Martin? He's definitely a guy that tries to get up in the break a lot. I can see him getting up there. Dylan Toynes, this back in the day, this would be a great race for him. But Mark Hershey, the good old days could have been. We'll see how he's riding. I mean, he's only down 5-6 minutes, 5:59. This actually might be a decent day for him. Tish Benoot, if he didn't have to work for Jonas. Nilsson Palace. This is I think a great stage for Nilsson, but I actually think it's going to be a stage where EF, you're going to start to see them doing more to try to get themselves in the break. That's all they have. They don't have really a GC rider here, so you're going to see. I would say Nilsson Palace, possibly Ben Healy as well. He's another guy I could see those two like working together and actually doing something completely idiotic to not work correct. Remember the gravel? Was it the gravel last year where Ben Healy misses the move, but he's with Pidcock and Nilsson Palace is in the move and they drop Nilsson Palace back to bring him up. And then Nilsson gets blown out, and then Ben Healy gets blown out, and then you got Pidcock going up the road, and you're just like, what are you guys doing? Christian Rodriguez, another one that I could see going up the road. Wout van Aert. So I don't know where he's at, but this would be a perfect stage for him back in the day. I don't think he's that guy right now. I actually was thinking Geraint Thomas would be a prime person to put in the break for this one, but I did hear even on the show they were talking about that, and which kind of surprised me that they were even going down that route. But I think he would need to be up there with another one, and he actually mentioned Axel Laurent. So he says Axel would be a great move guy to get in that move. So maybe that it is. But Alex Bodin for EF, that's really one I could imagine getting up into that break. Neither one of the Yates brothers, because they are too much working for their man. Tom Squeens, it would be a good day for him. I don't know, honestly, who's going to be there. If it's going to be a day for Tadej, I would actually be surprised. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing that. So that's what we have tomorrow. Let's quickly look at some of these headlines here. Like I said, Tadej said, I was not expecting to be so far ahead. He's amazed at what it is. Professional cyclists are a modest bunch. No, they're not. Second on the day to Remco, the UAE rider's time gap to Jonas stretched out to 8 seconds, from 8 seconds to 1:13. That was beyond anyone's prediction. The world champ is now in the yellow, and there's already a sense of inevitability about proceedings. For sure, I'm surprised, is what Tadej says, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not expecting to be so far ahead of him in this time trial. In fact, Pogacar was forecasting that his great rival would perform better than him. I was expecting him to be closer to Remco than me, but maybe he didn't have the greatest day out there. Yeah, this is actually, if you really look at Alaphilippe, if he takes, you know what? Actually, that's a great prediction, Tom, is Alaphilippe. He doesn't have to actually take the Geritol. He won a stage last year. Was it the Vuelta or the Giro? I want to say it was the Vuelta, a pretty steep stage, got up from the break, held everybody off. He ended up with the win. He still kind of has it. He's been there in the mix, and you saw that it was a stage 1 or 2 where they were going up over some steep stuff. So he can still kind of get there, and he is a guy that I think, I would say he and Hershey getting up in the break, I can totally see that happening. He needs to do something, right? And if he does take his Geritol, he'd be closer to Remco than me, but maybe he didn't have the greatest day out there. You don't say. So he has lost more time than we honestly predicted in our forecast. I don't know exactly why Jonas has lost so much time, but if you look at the numbers, data, and facts, Tadej has always been one of the key players in Tour de France time trials. Yeah, I don't know what happened to him. Here's what Jonas says. I don't have an explanation. Visma left without answers as Jonas Vingegaard suffers heavy defeat. Luckily, the tour is long. Okay. Visma Beatley's bike had no explanation for why Jonas lost more than a minute to the GC rival Tadej, and with the Dane dropping to 4th overall. Vingegaard endured a day of suffering without any regard to Caen. They call it Caen. Now, French is a weird language. I will say this. So I was listening to the countdown in the time trial today, and they're, tres, deux, deux, one is just Caen. Cayenne? No, just Caen. It's just, I don't know. Maybe they're lazy. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just, we're Americans, not quite there. No, I don't have an explanation, said Visma Leasebike head of racing Gersha Neerman. Frankly, at the team bus, before the TT, everything was good. So there were no problems. in the TT, he's not able to talk to me. I'm only able to talk to him. But we already heard after a kilometer that he was 8 seconds down on Remco. And he just lost time over the whole time trial. I haven't spoken to him yet, but of course, we hoped for more. I think this has to do with his wife. Let's be truthful about that. Yeah, this is what Tom says here. Jonas doing errands for his partner that wears the pants in the family. Exactly. Now, look, I do flooring myself. I've done the floors upstairs behind me. I've done the floors downstairs. I do, renovation projects. Now, my wife lets me do them, and she doesn't control. She picks out the flooring, and we do this. I talked about this the other day. It's a weird dynamic. Now, someone was saying, oh, she's has a degree in psychology or something like this, and they think that this person was saying that she's really helped build his confidence for like sports mentality for doing it. I'm like, okay, but why do you have to make it like so emasculating? Why is it? I go to work. I don't have, I want to win trials, or you don't do good in the trial. My wife doesn't go make statements about how I'm doing in my job. I don't go to her boss and start saying about like, if she was home more making, actually she works from home. So, but it is a weird thing that these, the spouses think that they're going to defend their husband. Like, and it's like, look, if you're trying to have him, and I am completely speculating, but this is what I love to do on this stuff. If he is having trouble, or you're trying to teach him how to be a leader, because he's talked about how this isn't natural for him to be a leader, and he's had to speak up more and say what he wants. If you're trying to teach him to do that, is your wife speaking out for you on your behalf, telling the team that they're too tough on him in the news? Is that how you're teaching him to stand up for himself? Absolutely not. Yeah. Just poor legs. Let's see. Let's keep going here. Race. And again, they confirmed that it was just a case of poor legs. That's true. The wind changed, but that also counts for Remco and for Tadej. And that's not an excuse for a lesser time trial, said Nierman. Beforehand, we knew Remco was the favorite and he won, rightfully so. But certainly with Jonas and Matteo, we hoped for a better time. Yeah, Matteo didn't do much better. I mean, I actually expected a lot better of him. I predicted he was going to win, which was a ridiculous prediction, but that was my heart pulling. And plus, you look at the route there, it's made for a power rider, and it just didn't happen. In a TT like this, you really can't get the strategy right or wrong. It's just pushing from start to finish, doing the technical passages well. That was not the problem, but I guess that Jonas didn't have enough power today. His team didn't say that he would now have to change their approach, or as have they so far been markedly different in 2025 with their classic style roster riding in support of the Dane, already lighting things up several times in the opening 5 stages. Once again, it'll be interesting now that he's down a bit. Because this is the problem I've seen with this team last year and then going into this year, which is doing the work for, and teams do this all the time. They did it in the Giro last year, doing the work for Tadej's team. Why are you getting on the front to do some sort of work? There was a point last year where you still had held out hope, and it's like, oh, now another team comes to the front, and his team gets to just like, maybe if you run them ragged and Tadej's isolated more, there's a problem. Maybe he gets a flat tire and he doesn't have a teammate there. But when you do the work for their team, you sit on the front because you want to bring a break back so that your guy can maintain his top 10. Okay. Or when, Jonas's team is doing this for some reason, they're going to light it up. And so they're going to break. It's like, okay, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay. It doesn't make sense. I've mostly been watching the Australians. Okay. Look, SBS podcast. I listened to that today. And I've also been watching it on SBS. And it's not bad. By the way, the Peacock coverage and I know there's going to be differences out here, and thanks, Victor, for coming in and liking the show. I know people do like, I grew up watching Phil and Paul Sherwin, God rest his soul, and Phil Liggett. But now it's Phil and Bob Roll. And Phil has lost a step. When I say I lost a step, it's like his leg has been cut off. It's really, he's just not there. And Bob Roll is unlistenable, okay? It's just horrible. Christian Vandeveld isn't bad, but when it was Christian and Bob doing the show, why do they have to mention each other's first name all the time? Well, Christian, well, Bob, that's right. And I'm just like, okay, just talk to each other. There's no one else there. I could tell the difference between your two fucking voices. Just talk like normal people. So they're annoying. It's just all bad. The studio's bad. And then you've got the mood that's bad. So I've tried a few things. One, a VPN, and I listen to SBS and watch it there. That's fine. They've had Caleb Ewan on there. He's a great, just retired sprinter. I think I mentioned that yesterday. Had been with, signed with Ineos last year, won 2 races, then retired. So he's newly off of that, and he's got a lot of great insight for the sprint. Simon Gerrans is a great, did he win world championships? I don't know, but is a former Australian, but he's great insight. And then Matt Keenan, another great insight. Bridie O'Donnell, she's fine. I messaged with her years ago. We were friends online for some reason. That's a little bit, I was single at the time. I'll just throw that out there. Interesting person. Nevertheless, it's fine. So then I've gone over to Flow. Now it's got Nicholas Roach, who I think is great. He does good commentary, and Ant McCrossan. He's been doing the announcing stuff and doing it for years, and they do it fine as well. So I'm mixing it up with everybody. I prefer the TNT, what they call that over there, the Eurosport, which is Rob Hatch, Robbie McEwen, Kirby, whatever his name is, Sean Kelly. Those guys, those are the ones I do prefer, even though I don't necessarily hear everything. Just the way they call the show is really my best. Phil Liggett, 81 years old. Oh, okay. I get it. I don't think, Victor, that Phil Liggett is your father or grandfather. I get it. I grew up, I loved him, but it's time to move on. And I think here's my biggest problem with them and the way that Peacock does this, and then it will be done here and we'll move on. The way that the Peacock does this is for what I think is, and this may be someone out there with you, and if that is the case, that's completely fine. I don't have a problem with this at all. It's the casual fan, okay? I'm beyond the casual fan. I don't know what sport, let's say you watch another sport and you are into it super deep, okay? You don't want to hear, some old timer trying to tell you about what it means to hike the football. And then when you're going to go throw a pass, you want a spiral. A spiral, that's how I feel. It's so beginner style. I want more. I want more in-depth analysis. I want you to understand. I want someone breaking this down saying, look, the team shouldn't be doing, this is a bad strategy, or this is a good strategy. Here's why this person shouldn't be working with this person. Here's, breaking these things down to the different levels, talking about the break that they are. But I feel like with Phil and Paul, and even a lot with, it could be Carlton Kirby. That's what, even with them sometimes, it's not the best. So that's my problem. I want a much more deeper understanding. It's an analysis of this race, and I'm just not getting it there. Our buddy Tom says, hey, still like Phil. Come on. All the little saints dancing on the pedals. Yes, he's misses stuff, but he's still awesome. Okay. French is awful. They skip the last half of the words. Okay. I'm casual. So you hate Madden now. Are you telling me Madden didn't give you a better analysis of the game? It's like watching Monday Night Football, but having it told to by, I don't know, my wife. That's really what I feel. I just feel, no pun intended. Okay, we're off of that. I do my yearly rant on that. The other rant, I would still rather watch Phil and Paul than, and I think they do a much better analysis of racing than you have with Lance Armstrong. And you watch that and it's like, he has Bradley Wiggins on there, who is top notch. Bradley Wiggins understands, he understands racing. He understands strategy. He also knows the history, and it is embarrassing to listen to Lance Armstrong. Okay. That's, I'm ripping on these guys as much as possible, over and over and over. This is what I have it. Okay, everybody, stage 6 tomorrow. I don't know who's going to win. It should be Matthew van der Poel, but I don't know if his team wants to put in the effort for it. If they do, they could win stage. They could also lose it to Tadej. There's only one person out there that can beat Tadej in a race like tomorrow, and if Tadej wants to win, and that's Matthew van der Poel. Otherwise, a break could win, but Matthew Van Der Poel is the only person that can go toe-to-toe and actually beat him. We saw that already, and I think that the next 2 days are tailor-made for Matthew Van Der Poel, so he's got to pick which one he wants to take. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow, stage 6. Hang in there. Out.